Commodities prices are surging on global markets. We know oil and gas are up, but how is dairy doing? Garth Bray, host of Herald Now Business, is with us as always. Garth, good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Global dairy trade auction was, well, it was another cracker last night, wasn't it?
Absolute banger, up 5.7% on the index. So this is just getting stronger and stronger right through the year, since January, right? And so 4.5% lift for whole milk powder. It's up. It's pushing towards $4,000 a tonne again. And you saw skim milk again on a tear, 9% up.
Nearly 10.
Up 6%, yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Interesting though, pop this chart up. This is Fonterra's prices, is the big blue line. So that's the sort of prices. But the pale line is products going out. There's less product in this auction from everybody than there was at the same time last year.
Which
so
pushes the price up.
They are holding back. They're keeping their powder dry, literally. And we saw that in the Port of Tauranga interim results last week. They said that in the first half of the year, so through to December, dairy volumes had dropped 3.5% nearly, and that they were expecting that would pick up. And so I guess you're just seeing that as the prices drops, they're keeping their powder dry, basically.
Yeah,
which is throwing it in there.
Which is fair.
Farmlands as well, just a quick note there.
Yeah.
While we're talking rural, half-year revenue up 10% year on year and EBITDA 19, $45 million worth of rebates to their 80,000 member shareholders, which sort of shows that the farming rural economy is turning over in the market as well.
All right, tell us about Whip Around and the AB's connection.
Well, this is a great company which you'll be interested in, perhaps not more for who's in it than for what it does, because Dan and Onakata, former All Whites Winston Reid, Noah Hickey is the chair, and it's kind of his baby. And this company basically Whip Around does fleet management and so on for mostly 90% of its customers are US trucking firms. It's a complicated business keeping track of your paperwork. Are the tyres okay? How many Ks have you done? What's on board? All this sort of stuff. It handles a lot of this sort of stuff. So US firm Excel KKR has just taken I think about a 75% stake. It had to get OIO approval, which means it's worth more than $100 million. So big payday for them. Noah Hickey in the great piece that Victoria Young for Business Desk has written up saying, getting an outcome for them lives with you every day. When you take money from friends, you want to do everything in your power, even if it's working through the night. So Noah has been doing extra time, and it looks like they've come home with the cup there.
How much? What stake do they have? Do we know? Or?
We don't know exact numbers. Well, there's there's 10% of it was with an outfit called Snowball Effect, which is one of those platforms that lets wholesale investors take a little piece of growth propositions. And I think a little chunk is with a firm called Amplo, which is a US firm that has Sir John Key on the board. And a chunk of it's with Punakaiki Fund, which is Lance Wigg's operation.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of all that sort of stuff. But yeah, just a great 10-year-old company.
Very cool.
Boom, going well.
Good on them. Now, finally, we'll go to the Middle East. I saw it touched $85 a barrel overnight for futures.
Dipped back to about 82, I think.
Gas up again.
You're starting to worry. I think Bloomberg was saying there could be about 3 million, barrel cut a day cut. So there's a worry there. But I want to look at gas as well, because they tested some new highs again. The European benchmark. We've got two charts. First one shows how it's been up 80% since Friday. That looks like a scary chart. But then let's look at the next one, which is how it did. See down the far end, that tiny little tiddler. That spike there is Russia going into Ukraine when it hit 343 euros a megawatt hour compared to about the 57 a megawatt hour it spiked at. So I think, as scary as it looks, she's been a lot scarier in recent history.
What's interesting is that I was reading a piece from the Wall Street Journal overnight that said for the Europeans, they're turning their nose up at the Russian gas. We want to turn the tap off because we don't want to feed the Russians. But when that price hits a certain point, an inflection point, you might go crawling back.
Yeah, you might go crawling back. Hey, just one quick one if we've got a minute. Insider trading on the attacks.
Always a minute for you, Garth.
Always a minute. FT has been looking at an outfit called Polymarket, which we've heard about before. This is the sort of predictive market where you can place bets on the Super Bowl, on
political stuff.
OCR. We can't do it here. New Zealanders are no longer allowed to interact with it.
Because our cousin is always the PM's press sec or something, right?
Well, but the problem is, so FT has identified 13 wallets, 12 of them opened accounts just days before the attack, placed collectively about $66,000 worth of wages within hours before the attacks on the fact that the attacks would take place, and made about 300K. So this is why I think there's a Democrat Senator, Chris Murphy, saying this is insane. that we're allowing trading on military actions because there are some people in there that clearly know what's going on and are putting a bob on it.
Bit dodge. All right, Garth, good to see you. As always, Garth Bray, host of Herald Now Business. Thanks to our partners, Forsyth Barr.